I guess maybe the best way I can explain this is it's about control over one's life. And when I was explaining this to a group, one of the women in one of my groups raised her hand and said, I think I'm getting what you say. I don't think I like hearing what you say in relation to what my own life's about. Unfortunately, I think I agree with what you say. So I said, let's get a little less abstract here. Can you share what your story is? And she said, yes, I'm a medical doctor. But could I share with you, Warren, like how I became a medical doctor? And I said, go ahead. And she said, my dad is a doctor. And my older brother was clearly going to become the doctor in the family. And my father was paying attention to my older brother all the time. He always paid attention to me, but it was like I was the black and white TV, and he was the color TV. And the attention to him was always a bit more focused. He was always preparing my brother for medical school, making sure his math, his science was down. He was doing all the right preparations, looking into colleges and graduate schools. And one day my brother at the dining room table said to my dad, Dad, I want to share something with you. I want to tell you something that I think is going to be upsetting to you, but please hear me out. And my brother said, Dad, I want to tell you, I really want to be a writer, not a doctor. And my father was so disappointed. I could see the disappointment on his face, but I could see him try to cover the disappointment up. And so I made a joke to try to break the contention. I said, you know, Dad, I've always wanted to be a doctor. And suddenly my dad looked around at me with a type of respect and a type of surprise and a type of relief and a type of admiration that I had never seen in my dad before. And I couldn't tell him at that moment that I was just joking. So each day he came up to me and he said, now he started taking a real interest in what I was taking and what I wasn't taking and helping me with my homework. I felt sorry that my brother was now being left out and he was becoming the black and white TV. But at no point in time could I feel comfortable being able to, I didn't want to lose this attention. I didn't want to lose this focus. I didn't want to lose this affection. I didn't want to lose him saying to other people, my daughter, he's going to become a doctor. She's going to become a doctor. And so I couldn't ever feel comfortable letting him know that the real truth was that I didn't want to become a doctor either. And so she said, finally, I figured, okay, when I go away to college, I'll be free. I'll be able to come home on vacations. And I'll be able finally to tell him. But now he was preparing me with pre-med courses and pre-science courses. I hated them, but I was good enough at them to get to the next level. And by the time I was junior year in college, I was already getting acceptances from med schools. And then I went into the med schools, and then I knew that if I went through med school and graduated, I couldn't do very well without getting, if I didn't do well, I wouldn't get a residency and an internship in a place as nice as where my dad lives, so I couldn't come back and be close to home. So I really focused on working, and I got a good residency and a good internship, and I was able to return to my community and be near my family and make a good practice and have a good reputation. And I'm realizing when I'm hearing you talk now is that I don't have power, do I? How many feels that she doesn't have power? How many feels she does have power? She has power and she doesn't have power. She has power by the society's evaluation of power, but from her perspective, she never became who she wanted to be. So options are not just about women saying they have choice or men saying they have choice. Options are about doing the spiritual journey of looking inside of oneself to discover, who am I a prisoner of? Whose approval am I a prisoner of? Is it the approval of my social group, my parents, my spiritual group, my Ken Wilber? No matter who it is, it all makes us flirt. The social part of us makes us give up ourselves, tempts us, seduces us as a siren to giving up our true selves, unless we do the spiritual journey to discover real power, the power of control over our own lives. Let's look at that from a historical perspective right into today. Today, millions of middle-class and upper-class women are in stage 3, doing the spiritual journey. Almost every woman here is in some version of stage 3. We'll see in a moment that today men are basically in stage 1, where women were in 1960. Think Mad Men. The question is, how did women get so far and men remain so stagnant? The women who made the most progress were what? Poor women or middle or upper class women? Middle upper class women. In industrialized countries or developing countries? Industrialized countries. So women who are middle class and upper middle class in industrialized countries were married to men who were what? Successful or unsuccessful? Successful enough to be able to allow the women to go to psychologists, be introspective, raise expectations about their marriage that would ultimately lead to their divorce. Why divorce? Because the women who were best able to afford the psychologists were the ones who had selected for successful men. That is, men who were what? Expressing their feelings or repressing their feelings? Repressing their feelings. And women can't hear what men don't say.